When 3I/ATLAS vanished behind the sun, NASA thought it was just another comet passing through. But when it reappeared, its orbit had shifted by over 2 million kilometers, a move no natural object could make. The light changed, the data glitched, and even NASA's own logs couldn't explain it. Did 3I/ATLAS maneuver while hidden from Earth? Or did something help it? The answer shocked NASA scientists. Let's dive right in. When 3I/ATLAS vanished behind the sun, NASA expected nothing more than silence. Every object that drifts behind the solar glare disappears for a few days before reappearing on schedule. That's how the universe works, predictable, steady, and obedient to math. But this time, the silence wasn't ordinary. It was different. For nearly 5 days, no telescope on Earth detected a single trace of the interstellar object. No light, no heat, no echo. The space it occupied went completely dark, as if something had swallowed the signal itself. Then, when it finally returned, the data stunned NASA's analysts. 3I/ATLAS was no longer where it should have been. It had shifted sideways by more than 2 million kilometers. That wasn't drift. That was intent. Inside NASA's deep space network, confusion turned quickly into concern. Every attempt to explain the offset failed. The software wasn't wrong. The telescopes weren't misaligned. There was only one remaining explanation that fit the data. The object had moved, not because of gravity, but because of something else. For the first time, the word maneuver appeared in the mission logs. What made this so alarming was how subtle the movement was. A comet can erupt, vent, or tumble from asymmetric outgassing. But 3I/ATLAS moved smoothly, almost gracefully, without a single burst of debris. It didn't spin, it didn't flare, it steered, like a vessel correcting its own course. Spectrographic readings revealed something even stranger. Within its reflected light, researchers detected structured distortions, magnetic fields forming clean geometric boundaries, not the chaotic turbulence seen in normal comets. The object's light wasn't scattering randomly, it was being contained. When Chilean observatories enhanced the images, 3 distinct color layers appeared. A green outer halo, a blue middle ring, and a faint pink inner core. Instead of blending, each color held its boundary with precision, as if confined by invisible electromagnetic walls. That kind of organization doesn't exist in nature. It exists in design. As images spread quietly through private research networks, a few physicists started whispering the word engineered. Most dismissed it as overreach, until the brightness data came in. Despite releasing more material as it neared the sun, 3I/ATLAS grew dimmer, not brighter. The object was venting mass, but somehow reducing its visibility, almost like it didn't want to be seen. That was when NASA shut off the public feed. An internal memo leaked days later confirmed what many suspected: temporary suspension due to anomalous telemetry inconsistencies. Behind those words hid a bigger truth. NASA's own instruments had captured something that shouldn't exist. On October 20th, the LASCO Solar Telescope recorded a brief, cross-shaped flash of plasma moving across the sun's limb. At first, it was dismissed as sensor noise, but when independent analyst David Sereda compared the geometry to 3I/ATLAS's last known position, the match was perfect. 2 independent systems, one looking toward the sun, one away from it, had captured the same shape from opposite sides of the solar system. Coincidence? Maybe. But after that night, even the skeptics went quiet, and the timing couldn't have been more precise. October 25th marked the comet's perihelion, its closest point to the sun. From Earth's perspective, that meant it was hidden behind blinding solar radiation, invisible to every ground-based telescope. But for a spacecraft, that alignment is a perfect cover. It's when maneuvers can be made unseen, using the sun itself as a shield. During that invisible window, every indicator began to diverge. The object's magnitude dropped, electromagnetic interference spiked, and the solar wind data around its position began oscillating in rhythmic bursts, like the pulse of an unseen machine adjusting its field. For most people, it was a quiet week, but for NASA engineers, it was the longest silence of their careers. Then the data got stranger. Telemetry logs across multiple observatories began to fail, not from mechanical error, but from logic itself. Packets of data started duplicating, calculations finishing before their inputs were complete. It was as if something was interfering with the computation process at the source. The European Space Agency described the effect as non-causal signal behavior, the kind of thing usually reserved for quantum physics experiments, not celestial tracking. Every anomaly matched 3I/ATLAS's last known vector. It was as if the object's presence was bending not just the light around it, but the information describing it. Scientists coined a quiet phrase on encrypted channels: entangled trajectory. The theory suggested that 3I/ATLAS wasn't merely defying gravity, it was interacting with the systems observing it, watching the watchers. 5 days passed. The sun's glare began to fade, and then, just when the world was ready to declare the object lost, a faint signal blinked back across the detectors. It was there, smaller, dimmer, but alive. Its trajectory no longer matched any projection. It was faster, more focused, and shifted slightly off the orbital plane, as though it had rewritten its own course. The real shock came next. Its brightness began to pulse every 12.7 seconds, a consistent rhythm too regular to be random. It wasn't rotating like a comet. It was signaling. The frequency was identical to the plasma oscillations seen before it vanished. The same fingerprint, repeated after the maneuver. NASA's official statement described it blandly: non-gravitational acceleration. But inside the labs, the phrase that circulated was very different. Active guidance confirmed. Across the world, astronomers scrambled to understand what they were witnessing. Some argued that this was simply a fragment of interstellar ice reacting to the sun's heat in unpredictable ways. Others pointed out that the energy required to move a mountain-sized object sideways through space could only come from propulsion, something intentional. The arguments grew heated, but the data didn't care who believed it. By early November, 3I/ATLAS had settled into a faint, stable trajectory, leading out toward the edge of the solar system. Its glow was steady, narrow, and colder than before. The object was moving faster than when it entered, and its new path no longer matched any natural projection. Whatever had happened behind the sun had changed it. For the scientists who spent their nights staring at those empty coordinates, that realization carried a quiet, unnerving weight. Maybe what they saw wasn't a comet at all. Maybe it was a vessel, a probe, or something built for reasons we can't yet define. Because if it could change course once, it could do it again. And if it could hide behind the sun, it could be anywhere now. Weeks later, NASA quietly closed its observation file. The official term used was anomalous non-gravitational acceleration, a phrase that explains nothing and hides everything. But inside the final report, buried beneath layers of technical jargon, one line stood out: course deviation consistent with controlled vector adjustment. Further observation required. They called it an adjustment. The rest of us call it what it is: proof that something out there was aware of us. And as the final signal from 3I/ATLAS faded into the cosmic background, one unsettling truth remained. For the first time in recorded history, humanity may have witnessed not just an interstellar visitor, but an interstellar decision. So, what really happened behind the sun? Did 3I/ATLAS simply follow physics, or did it rewrite them? Every piece of data says the same thing. Something moved with precision, intelligence, and silence. Maybe it wasn't trying to attack or hide. Maybe it was watching. And if it truly changed its own path, what else out there might be doing the same? Right now, beyond our reach. NASA won't say more, but the numbers don't lie. The cosmos just blinked back at us. If you want to keep following this story, every update, every signal, every unexplained change, make sure you like this video, subscribe to Galactic Breaking News, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next revelation. Share your thoughts below. What do you think 3I/ATLAS really is? The debate starts here, and the truth might already be on its way back toward us. NASA just confirmed something no one expected. 3I/ATLAS turned blue near the sun. Scientifically, it should have turned red as dust and heat scatter blue light away. But instead, its color shifted to a hotter-than-the-sun blue, defying every known law of physics. Now, experts are asking, is this a natural phenomenon or proof of active energy inside the object itself? Let's dive right in. When the first signal came in from NASA's solar observatories, everyone thought it was a calibration glitch. But as the data repeated, confirmed by independent stations, one fact became impossible to deny. 3I/ATLAS had turned blue near the sun. And that made absolutely no sense, because according to every law of physics we know, objects like this are supposed to redden as they heat up. Dust, radiation, solar wind, they all scatter blue light and leave behind a warm, red glow. That's what we've seen for decades with comets and asteroids. But this time, the rules were broken. At its closest approach, 3I/ATLAS was supposed to be losing energy, cooling, darkening. Instead, it became brighter. Its green hue faded into a deep electric blue, hotter than the sun itself. NASA's coronagraph images captured the shift frame by frame. No solar flare, no magnetic interference. Just a silent, steady transformation that none of their models could explain. What's even stranger is that this blue emission wasn't chaotic. It was stable. The light maintained a consistent wavelength, a precise 450 nanometers, as if controlled by a mechanism. It wasn't just glowing, it was regulating. That's when Avi Loeb, the Harvard astrophysicist known for his work on Oumuamua, released a statement that rippled through the scientific community. He called it the 10th anomaly. A moment later, the discussion changed from observation to confrontation. Because what 3I/ATLAS is doing, no natural object has ever done before. Think about the temperature alone. The sun's surface sits at roughly 5,800 Kelvin. That's the limit. Anything that close should be red hot, not blue hot. Yet the data showed 3I/ATLAS radiating beyond that range, as though it was generating its own internal energy. And that idea,